All right. I demonstrated some of the work on the Classic 30. This is a Prowler, same thing. It used to be a combo. However, with this one I had to cut it on the sides. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of dark. This side, you can see that I chopped it there so that I can make a head out of it. I gained an extra jack, basically, output jack. So I have the internal speaker was rewired with a jack, so I can plug it in, and then it still has the extension speaker jack output. Now, if you know anything about me, I don't use the normal channel at all. I can't use it. It doesn't. It goes nowhere. It's not my style. I use only the high gain channel with the switch in. That means that it boosts it. The volume is also boosted, but I control everything from the guitar. It's exactly what I need. I set the pre-gain on 4, but all these are active EQ. They work differently than the passive. The Classic 30 is passive. This right here isn't. So these active EQ, you can turn it all the way up, which I do. Sometimes I roll off a little bit of the bass, but it's called bottom, and that's the bass. And then for if you want it chunkier, that's called body, or the mids, right? And they call it body. So think of it as if you want the tone to be fuller and chunkier sounding, then that's the body you want to give it. And then to cut through, you need edge. So that's what they say. Instead of treble, they use the word edge. Instead of middle, they use the word body. But it really does mean that in a studio amp like this one. And the bottom is the very low frequencies, what they consider bass on the Classic 30. But this is built quite different. It has the effects send and return right here. And it's got a standby switch. Right now, I just turned it on, but here's a standby switch, and it'll turn green like that. So our standby switch is on. Let's say I'm taking a break. I'm not playing. So that's where the motor would be. When the set starts, then I have to take that down like that, the standby. This will go out, the green light, and then it'll gradually you'll hear your guitar. It also has some things in the back. It controls speaker excursion. It has a control in the back. It's called resonance, but basically it sets tight or loose. I got it on tight because I like the tighter type of sound, more focused, more instantaneous. I use my cabinet. I don't like open back, and I don't like ported. They sound rubbery to me. Well, the ported one sounds rubbery, not tight and punchy. Infinite baffle's the way to go if you really want to get anywhere near like Eddie Van Halen has that infinite baffle sound, instantaneous attack and that kind of thing. That's what I want. What else can I tell you about this? You plug it in here. The high gain is what I use. I push the gain switch. I push it in, so that means that it's at the higher gain level. And I usually don't go past 4 because I have the active EQ all the way up on all 3 bands: bottom, body, and edge. The reverb, I keep it on 5. It doesn't get in the way. It's a nice reverb, but I use the Zoom pedal, the Zoom 505, so I have reverb there too. more of a digital type of reverb rather than a tank. This is a tank reverb, but it doesn't get in the way, this reverb. So I just leave it on 5, and it just gives me an added depth that I like. What else can I say about it? I could pull this forward. This is my studio amp, so that's why I got it rigged up with my slide guitar on top, you know. Basically, here's the back of it. And I should have a flashlight or something. Maybe you can still see it. All right. Here's that resonance switch that I was telling you about. I got it on tight. That means all the way like that. I don't want it loose. This right here, I believe, is this external speaker. Yeah, this is an extra extension cabinet. However, I plug it in here because that was where the speaker used to be, and I just rewired a jack on it, and there it is. There's a remote switch, foot switch input too. Since I don't switch from clean to, you know, I control it all from the guitar, and this amp really does. It cleans up when I want it, and it gets real saturated when I want, you know. That's all I ask of an amp. This is an infinite baffle cabinet, and I have a Sheffield 12-inch speaker. They're 75 watts, but since it's a 45-watt amp, RMS, then it's perfect. It's a perfect match for the Prowler. The Sheffield is, and Sheffield is what Eddie Van Halen used, and I like that sound. It's a textured speaker, and it's very much textured. I love it. You know, the only thing is it can only handle 75 watts, but this amp only puts out 45 RMS, so it's safe to use it. I used to have the Sheffield on the Katana amp, and I thought I was going to blow it. Well, as soon as I switched it to 100 watts, it would have just fried it. So I put a EVM 12L speaker in it, which is a 200 watts. It's not going to blow anytime. I don't think it'll ever blow, because the Katana is 100 watts RMS at 8 ohms, and it's got the load for it, the 12-inch speaker. The Classic 30 also uses an EVM 12L, but it's a 16 ohm. Eddie Van Halen used the Sheffields. The ones he used was 100 watt Sheffields, not 75 watt. And they were 16 ohm speakers, so he can put 2 cabinets, you know, a total of 8 speakers. Basically 12-inch speakers, and that's how he ran his rig. I kind of like the sidekick amps, you know, the little buddy here. I only use one speaker. Since it's infinite baffle, it emanates the sound. It doesn't have that piston action in a hot spot somewhere, like open back cabinets go into a piston action, where you could move over the 6 inches and notice that, wow, what happened to the guitar, you know? Yeah, because it's piston action. It's very directional, and nothing to the sides. So that's why I prefer the infinite baffle, because it emanates the sound. It covers a lot wider area, and I only use one speaker, and I could play a lot of clubs with it. And if I want louder, I just simply mic it. And that's the truth about the Prowler. And my favorite, it creams out as you turn it up. It creams out even at low volumes. It's just a creamier type of sounding amp. The Classic 30 is more taut, more punchy and aggressive. It's got the British voice, bad teeth and all. So that's what I use that amp for, the Classic 30. It's 16 ohms, it's 30 watts RMS, but it delivers that current through all 8 speakers that you may use, into cabinets, two 12-inch cabinets. It has that ability where this one can't do it. As soon as you plug a 16 ohm speaker, for instance, on this amp that's rated at 8 ohms, you lose half the wattage. So it goes down from 45 watts to, what would that be, 22.5 watts, something like that. So you got to use the right impedance. The speakers have to be matched. With the Classic 30, I use the 16 ohm speakers. And that's basically that. I had to redo this particular one because my battery ran out on my camera because I'm hand holding it. And I couldn't, plug it in or anything. So, but I'm pretty satisfied with that I completed the Classic 30. It's called chopping the amp, a chopped amp, because it's turned from a combo to a head. This one, like I was saying, is I couldn't strip it down to the chassis because there's nothing to really work with. With the Classic 30, though, on the sides it has these bolts, so I use those to put those ends on, and that's how they work. I'm going to run these two videos together, so one after the other, so you'll be able to notice the differences, and it'll, one after the other, you'll get the whole picture. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.